As the Dinaric Alps rise out of the warm waters of the Adriatic, an ancient, magical landscape reveals itself.
Towering peaks and fertile plains, bustling multi-ethnic cities and abandoned villages, frozen front lines and forgotten places.
We are heading south towards Dubrovnik, but rather than go the usual route along the coast, we want to heed the generous advice of many locals. Visit Mostar and explore Herzegovina on the way.
Beautiful old aqueduct, I assume.
First, we get to cycle a bit of this beautiful coastline before heading inland through the vineyards, olive groves and karst mountainscape. The Eurovelo 9 cycle route travels the length of the coast, and while some sections are along beautiful village promenades, a large amount follows the main coastal road. This is a deserving tourist hotspot, which meant unfortunately we found it to be busy with some quite intimidating sections competing with heavy traffic even in the winter. But you don't have to stray far to find perfect cycling roads through quaint Croatian villages clinging on to steep mountainsides with terrace farms and mountain goats.
With the light fading, we spot some abandoned terraces above the road. We can't cycle past such a low-effort wild camp spot, especially when it has such a view as this.
Good spot for the night, I think.
Yeah.
Solid. Easy.
Whoa,
What?
look at the line of satellites.
Oh, that's Elon Musk. I've never seen it before.
No, me neither.
It's Starlink. It's eerie though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very eerie.
It feels incredibly dystopian.
Yeah. Good night.
Good morning. Take some coffee.
May have overslept and very much enjoyed coffee inside the tent in the warm.
Got it?
First climb of the day on our way to Mostar. Seems pretty nice. Quiet road.
We got some hot, delicious, cheesy, salty burek for breakfast, so we're all fueled up and ready to go.
And the sun is shining. So everything is good. Top of our main climb for the day. Biokovo up there. And we've still got most of our distance that way. Hello, chickens. Back in Bosnia, 54k to Mostar. Be there in no time. Final hill climb before Mostar. And then a nice long descent into the town. One perk of being back in Bosnia is accommodation is incredibly cheap in the winter. We can afford to come out the tent, park our bikes up and explore a city. A very nice thing to do when you're cycle touring. And down we go. Vala.
don't know if the camera will pick it up, but it's very cool that you can hear church bells and call to prayer at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard that before.
I can hear 2 different bells and 2 different calls to prayer, at least, maybe 3.
We passed 3 in the last
Yeah,
kilometre. 500 metres.
that's cool.
There are many striking and beautiful things about the city of Mostar, but one notable thing is the huge old trees you find across the entire city. They are not standing due to neglect, but you can see signs that they are actively protected. Mostar citizens have lived through very turbulent times. They suffered a siege in the 90s, and then the subsequent power-sharing deals for the divided city led to allegations of mass corruption. In 2010, the Constitutional Court declared Mostar's electoral framework as discriminatory. The Bosniak and Croat ruling parties were unable to reach a new compromise, local elections lacked a legal basis, and the next vote did not take place until 2020. And so for a decade, Mostar citizens lived without an administration. This led to decline in service provisions. Even rubbish collections started to collapse. Given this, it's even more heartening to see that these giants of trees, some must be over 100 years old, have been prioritised and protected, with infrastructure being built around them. That's a lot more than we can say for our treatment of trees in the UK, where any in the way are cut down without a second thought. So it is the morning of the 8th of January. We're about 10 kilometres outside of Mostar, and the forecast was for wind and light rain, but we've had to stop and get changed. It's pretty beautiful today. Can feel the warmth of the sun, apricity.
Amazing weather.
And we have to be in Dubrovnik by tomorrow afternoon to meet my dad, who's flying out, which is very exciting. And we're going to follow the Ćiro bike path, an old railway. Ćiro?
Maybe.
It's about 140 kilometres that goes nearly all the way from Mostar to Dubrovnik, so it looks pretty beautiful with lots of tunnels. Apparently a lot of the tunnels have pretty healthy bat colonies as well.
Nice.
Oh.
They'll be sleeping.
And we've heard there's some good wild camp spot places along the way, so perfect day for it.
Indeed. Looking forward.
Ćiro, here we come. Ćiro, Ćiro. The railway ran for just 75 short years, becoming decommissioned in 1976. The name Ćiro comes from the old nickname for steam locomotives due to the sooty stream they left behind. Feeling so lucky to have a day of completely ideal cycling weather right at the start of January, timed perfectly with going along this incredible road and bike route that's going to take us basically all the way to where we want to go. What more could you ask for?
Europe has many states with quirky constitutional orders, but no other state is ordered quite like Bosnia and Herzegovina. It is a land of 2 historic regions, 3 presidents, 3 languages in one, 2 alphabets, 3 religions, 2 main autonomous administrative entities, and 1 UN-appointed High Commissioner to oversee it all. Each ethnic group elects their own president for a 4-year term, but the actual presidency rotates around them every 8 months. Devised with good intentions, this unusual order came out of the Dayton Agreement in 1995, aptly described as a superb agreement to end a war, but a very bad agreement to make a state by Paddy Ashdown. While making sure no one group could take full control of the state, the agreement also entrenched the divisions. When you are only elected by your own group, there is no incentive to find compromise with your opponents. So the more extreme positions become amplified and progress becomes hard. Irrespective of group, you often hear the same complaint about their politicians. They pit the populations against each other for their own political gain. Just as the old locomotives used to, we stopped to refuel at this old bridge outside of Gavella for the steep climb to Popovo in the hills ahead. Today, Bosnia and Herzegovina suffers much from the paralysis and crisis that often characterize its politics, made worse by international politicians using it for their own political posturing. However, This seems to be a distant sideshow to ordinary citizens going about their day-to-day. Most people of Bosnia and Herzegovina are used to getting on with their lives, not letting the bickering of politicians affect them. The streets feel safe and everyone is incredibly friendly and kind. The beautiful public parks are usually full with families and children playing, and we are always made to feel welcome wherever we go. After our climb, we descended into a high plain called Popovo Polje. It lies between two ridges that follow the coast here, but because of this landscape, it feels very isolated from its surroundings. Hello, hello. Hey, goaties.
That electric fence isn't working very well. Saw me coming and just ducked back under it. There's something about olive trees when the sun is getting low in the sky. They just look so beautiful. I don't know if it's because their leaves are so different colours on either side, and then when there's a bit of a breeze, they really catch the light in such a nice way. The Trebiznica River, which flows through Popovo Polje, is notable as it is one of the longest sinking rivers in the world, meaning it loses water as it travels downstream, replenishing groundwater supplies. It rises and sinks along its course in various places. From Popovo Polje, it sinks below ground and emerges again in 3 different locations. Part of it travels underground for 20 kilometres and then appears as a powerful spring in the north of Dubrovnik, where it finally drains into the Adriatic.
Looks like quite a big town was here once. Some villagers kindly allowed us to top up our water in Trincina. It seems that relatively few people are left here, but they are kept company by the local cats in exchange for the odd treat. Convenient bike stand. Perfect.
So we could go here, or we could maybe follow the road round and see if there's a nice terraced garden somewhere. God. It's pretty sad. But it's also nice to see how nature springs back. It's so small to be houses. But I don't know what they even
Well, I
have.
think that seemed to be like a livestock.
Okay. Is it farm? I was wondering farm.
Yeah,
building.
so some of them will be pens and stables.
Yeah, because
They're all the same design though.
I suppose you would have animals in the bottom and then.
Yeah, except that it looks to me like the top is open.
Okay, that makes sense because yeah, they all
Yeah,
have the
that
row
makes
of
sense.
tiles as well. But they must have used it for something if they've bothered building it and building a staircase up. You want to go here?
I think here is actually one of the best places so far.
Oh, okay.
It's very well hidden.
Yeah. Okie doke.
Quite a well preserved one here. Fire. Get a little window. Loft access. There's our camp spot. It's 8 p.m.
I tucked up my bed. Up bright and early. Got 64k left to go to Dubrovnik. The temperature has dropped to 9 degrees, which is lovely. Good night.
Good night.
It's got light. We're heading off. Saoirse pointed out, houses have fireplaces. So even though they're very small and they seem to have feed storage on the first floor, they're definitely houses.
Never known a cow to have a little campfire. What feed storage? What's
So
the
that
feed storage?
the up here, this one's not in very good condition, but it's
On the first floor. Oh,
yeah, it's like a narrow corridor, but
you know-
both sides is just like a lattice, like weave.
You know, we've seen a
What's it
lot of people drying out corn.
Yeah, I mean that is what it looks like, and
We're thinking maybe a leftover from collective farming, since all
Yeah.
the buildings are so.
they're all exactly the same.
And it's not just here; they
Yeah.
all look the same, dotted the whole way along this valley. Hopefully, we'll be able to learn something about it.
Need to go and do some reading, find out what happened, or which happening caused this. But
I don't know what the population of Bosnia and Herzegovina is.
it's pretty low there, 2 or 3 million range, I think. I think it's a lot lower than it was.
Popovo Polje is some of the most fertile land in southeastern Europe, which makes its near abandonment quite hard to understand. Current estimates put the population of the entire valley at 300. In the 50s, several villages alone had a population of more than 500. Census data shows a steady decline in the population since then. In World War II, the Serbian population suffered atrocities at the hands of the Ustasha, and a monumental ossuary in Veličani has given a final resting place to the bones of 200 Serb peasants recovered from a Ustasha mass grave.
This, I think, is the old train station up ahead, which has been converted into a hotel. Most of the other ones were abandoned and covered in graffiti. This one's being made use of. Ooh, wine bar. Goodness me.
The closing of the railway in the 70s also made life more difficult in these villages. Then, the war in the 90s saw a sharp population decline and numerous villages abandoned altogether.
Back on road. Oh, a wee information board. During the Socialist Republic of Yugoslavia, many monuments were erected to commemorate the fallen partisan fighters during the Second World War. Just as the one in Mostar, this one in Zavala had suffered damage, and a large bronze statue has been missing since the 90s, a reminder of this region's disputed history. This is a memorial to the 4 significant victories of the partisans in the 40s. Over there is a village called Veličani, which supposedly used to have the finest figs in the world, but is now mostly abandoned. Our road continues this way.
We've just spent all our lunch break trying to learn about the place, but everything written is about the geology of the karst field, some monasteries and a cave. It's very difficult to find any information about
Ethnographic stuff or
demographics, how it's changed over time. But one article did say the shutting of the railway was a bit of a death sentence for all the villages along here.
Fox just passed
Oh,
over the road up ahead.
well, let's go say hello.
Some sage. Should be good for dinner tonight. This area here seems to have been abandoned for longer. It's now going back to woodland, which is really nice to see. I can still hear sheep in the woods down there, so there's obviously still a bit of farming going on. And they've got bells and probably some goats to keep them safe. So we were just cycling along, had a car behind us, we pull in to let them pass, and they pull up next to us in this white Land Rover, military fatigues on, and just ask us, is everything all right? Where are you off to? Very friendly.
Very smiley.
Yeah, I've not.
Very relaxed.
I don't think I've ever actually seen the white Land Rovers in real life before.
EUFOR
Yeah,
was written on it.
EU4.
They asked what you up to, and it was on the tip of my tongue to say, what you up to? I managed to keep it in. This is the Old Hum train station. It occupies a place which has been a crossing point for caravans from Asia since antiquity and the Middle Ages, a convergence of cultures and commerce. In the 1960s, it was an extremely important intersection with 14 tracks and 60 trains a day passing through. Now there are signs covering it warning of unexploded landmines, and the village feels all but abandoned. Hopefully one day this remarkable place will flourish once again.
No idea what that said. I'm sure it said something like, this road is closed except for bicycles. We found out what the meaning of that sign was. There's some happy looking workmen having fun in their digger.
We've struggled to find out much information about what life was like in Popovo Polje during its most populated and prosperous times. We've learned that some of the villages take names from what was grown in the area. For example, Dračevo for brambles and Dub for oak. Figs and grapes are still grown here for brandy and wine production, and maize was clearly an important crop, and it was dried on the first floor of the houses.
Bosnian border there. Should be a Croatian border point shortly. Oh, it's windy.
If you have any other information about this incredible place, what life was or is like here, we'd really love to hear it.
We're done. Vala, ciao. Here, the border with Croatia follows the high ridgeline along the coast, and the change of scenery is dramatic. You realise just how close to the sea you are, and beneath, perched on the steep rock jutting out into the water, sits Dubrovnik. With walls like that and the position it is situated, there is no wonder how this old city managed to maintain its independence for so many centuries, while the lands outside its walls fell back and forth between its rivals. Thank you so much for watching and exploring with us. We've set aside some more time for exploring the Balkans before heading out of Europe and into Asia. If you have any recommendations of places to visit, we always love to hear them. And we really appreciate any constructive feedback on the videos. We don't have any experience doing this and feel very much out of our depth. See you next time.